Hello, everybody. You have tuned in to Eric Jose on Making a Murderer on YouTube. I cover virtually any aspect of making a murderer. I go over the evidence, the documents, the photos. So if you like, stay tuned, and in the future I'll have many more videos besides the one you're about to see. Hello, everybody. Here we are again with more memories of MaM-A-Thon. This is a very, very interesting chat that I had with JJacks, SWH582, and also Henbury coming in at the end. This is also the part of MaM-A-Thon where we made the final push to get to the goal of 4,000. Upon reaching the 4,000, Henbury had a special document that he promised to reveal if we reached 4,000. And so we get to take a look at that during this segment. So really, really good segment here. Hope you guys all enjoy it. As I said before, starts out with JJacks, Sam William Henry, 582, and I. We are joined eventually by Henbury, who brings in a very interesting document for everybody to see. So hope you guys all enjoy it. Here we go. There he is.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can. In fact, let me put my earphones back in.
How's it going there, JJacks?
All right.
Good.
All right. How's it going? How's it going, JJacks?
It's going great, guys. I've really, really enjoyed the show.
Awesome. I'm glad everybody's enjoying it. That's very gratifying. You know, it was a lot of work to do this, put this together, everything. It's been somewhat grueling, but very satisfying. And so we're glad to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Really appreciate it.
It's great. This thing has been fantastic.
Well, thank you so much. All right. So where do we want to start?
Well, I can.
How about you, Jamie? You got an idea where you want to start here?
Well, yeah, we talked a little bit last night.
Jamie, we have no audio from you, buddy. Yeah, no, you were already unmuted. Uh-oh.
I wonder why I'm losing. Is it back yet?
Uh-oh. Let's see.
I can hear him.
You can hear him? I can't.
Yes.
That's odd. I can hear JJacks, but not him. That's strange.
I'll cut the camera off. Maybe my phone's getting low. Can you hear me now?
Oh, I see why. All right, try now, Jamie.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. For some reason, the volume was turned down on you. That's weird. Okay, so There we go. So where do you think we should start, Jamie?
Well, one of the subjects that we talked about last night, which I found was really interesting, it was a post from about a month ago. And hold on, let me look at my notes. It was in reference to the blanket ban on the FOI, and that was something that I hadn't really heard of about the blanket ban, and so we had a discussion about it last night, and JJacks has got some more information out there in reference to this, and there was stuff that I didn't realize we still don't have. So that's kind of where that was my I guess the big one for me that just caught my interest right away.
Yeah. So you have a specific question in it?
No, well, no, he could kind of lead in on what we discussed about last night. Hold on. Going through.
I think I know what he's referencing. So.
Oh, okay.
Really, if you look back, I'm talking about way back after MAM came out, there was a pretty large group on the MAM subreddit that really did a fundraising event basically to get all the documents. And this not only included, what we could get from Calumet, but also from Manitowoc, and specifically talking about this, the DCI. So there were some emails that were got that referenced conversations between the DCI, and I don't want to say this wrong. It was either Calumet, which I think, or Manitowoc, about the DCI was getting hammered with requests for documents, and basically they just didn't release anything. They just said, no, we're not going to let it go. They have specific rules. And I know that Skip Top, he's the one that hosted our original documents repertoire, I guess you'd say.
Right.
And so he had made a lot of references, or I say a lot. We had talked about getting these documents from the DCI, with the funds that we had through crowdsourcing, trying to get these funds or these documents. And so he had sent a request to the DCI, and they refused it, saying his request wasn't specific enough. And so he replied, and he gave, specific case numbers, everything, and they still denied it with another excuse. And so it just really became apparent that back then that they weren't going to release anything. Of course, we didn't know about these other conversations that went on. So,
right,
that's just where we're at. We still can't get anything from the DCI. I think they've released, very little. I think, Zellner's gotten quite a bit of things. She's probably got the entire.
Yeah, Zellner would have, right.
Yeah, she's got probably everything that they have. I'm going to assume that she does. But again, she may not, knowing what we know now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I've often thought that, I don't think they have anything there that is really going to help them in DCI or the DOJ, because I heard Gilter say after Ryan came out talking about Teresa had gotten a lump sum for the damage to the blinker and she just hadn't fixed it, and all that story came out, and then Kathleen Zellner proved that wasn't true. Gilter's were immediately coming out, oh no, there's something at the DOJ. They have paperwork at the DOJ. It was claimed on somebody else's insurance, right? And I'm like, oh, no. I mean, at the time, I was kind of like, okay, well, maybe that's plausible. Maybe that could be, right? And so I actually wasn't sure for a while. But then when I saw Queso 2.0 and saw that they were actually over there browbeating Mike Halbach to go through all of his old computers, desperately hoping to find a picture of the damage to the RAV4. And that's
right.
when I went, these guys don't have anything. They don't have a thing over there to help them. And that's when I basically became of the opinion that whatever is there is probably useless. Because if it was helpful, they'd be putting it out to shut us up. But they're not. There's nothing. Obviously, they can't shut us up. Otherwise, they probably would, right? I mean, this is got to be an unpleasant situation for them.
Well, I would think that, with all the motions, actually all the replies that the state's put forth in not only Avery's case, but in Brandon's case, that they would have absolutely have put something out in some of their replies. They would have had, you would think they would say, oh, well, look, we have this here, and they don't have it. They just simply don't.
Right. Yeah,
Rich, that was kind of in my original questioning that I didn't actually read to him last night, but I had the same thing. If they have something there, why wouldn't they put it out there just to slow down the momentum of what's going on now?
Yeah, I mean, you got to imagine if they had anything useful, something that would help them, we would have seen it by now.
Right. Roll's asking a question about a post that it's on the Stephen Avery case subreddit. Yes, this is in reference to that. So
okay.
Yeah.
There you go, Roll. Yes.
And like you had said last night, when you do FOIA requests, it's not anonymous automatically. It's got to be, you got to request that. So if they know that somebody is probably involved in this, especially locally, they're probably less likely to want to let that information get out.
Well, that's another aspect of it. Yes, when you send in an FOI request, unless you specifically request that your name not be listed, it's going to show up somewhere. I don't know exactly how that information is relayed. It's a little bit creepy to think about, but that's the truth. Once you involve yourself in this very open and active appeal, you become part of the process. So
Right.
for those that are doing any kind of FOI request, just make sure, if you want to remain anonymous, that you request that.
Yeah. Interesting. Good looking out.
Well, I mean, not everyone, they want to help and they want to do their part, but they don't really want to get that actively involved to say, hey, I'm part of the case. They want to say, I want to help out. I'm behind the curtain. I'm not really in it for anything other than my part is saying, hey, I found this or whatever.
Right.
So now, but we had talked about last night as well that there's some pictures out there and I believe that's what you're referencing is there's some pictures that are out there that have not been released and that they're holding. That's what this ban is kind of about, correct?
Well, no. Well, I don't know what the DCI has, but if you look through the evidence listing, and specifically, there are 2 references to photos that were taken that we've never seen. I know we've never seen them, and I know right now, I'm not going to say who, but I know right now there are requests in to get these photos, and it's just, this is not the only inference, but there have been others that have tried to get FOI requests approved to get whatever, and they get bounced around and they get stonewalled and just all this crap. But I know that these photos, there's actually, I can't remember now where the reference is, but there are hundreds, if not thousands, of photos that we've never seen. They're part of the evidence, but I'm sure Zeldner's probably seen them. But
Right.
let's get more eyes on them. Let's get 100,000 eyes on these photos to see what we can see. Maybe nothing, but then again, we don't know.
Right.
But then referencing back to these requests, I know that these requests still haven't been fulfilled, and this person's still trying to get them. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Interesting. How many photos?
A couple people have also said in there, and we talked about this, the Roger Raduin's
Yes.
interview. That's another big part of it.
Well, that interview is sealed, and we can't get it, and we don't know why. Why would it be sealed?
Yeah.
Yeah, really tells you that they're at least it seems that they're hiding something there.
There are other interviews. Bobby did an audio interview early on. Can't get it. We can't get the audio. We're finally able to get some other early interviews on audio. It was terrible, but we got it. But the whole point is, we've hashed out a lot of the stuff that over and over again that we do have, and it's we talked about these rabbit holes, and a lot of them go nowhere. But there are other ones that they lead us somewhere. There's something there, but we can't get the rest of the story.
Yeah. And if you don't have that information, there may be things in there that might be able to actually tie
That's right.
so many things together.
That's right.
Yep. Interesting. And so somebody was asking what document was sealed. They're talking about an interview with, what did you say, Radunes?
Yeah, Raduins.
Raduins?
Yeah,
So
I can't remember.
they're talking about some interview that has been sealed that we don't know what it is. And I'm curious because I've never even heard the name before.
It's in the queso documents. Somebody could probably find it.
Right.
That's the guy who supposedly helped her change a tire or something.
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. Why would it be sealed though?
We don't know.
I mean, just to helping her. Yeah, that's fishy.
Roland and Denise have got the name right there.
Yeah. Okay. Radunes. Okay. Raduins.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting, though. I mean, just the wondering why, if he's just helped her change a tire and stuff, why would they be sealing the? I don't know. That's interesting. It's of note, something to note, I guess. So interesting. Oh, now they're putting up the phonetical pronunciations.
Bronfoth actually asked, does anyone have any of the Skorlinski reports? Said he investigated Lori DePease.
I don't know what she's referring to personally.
She's a DCI agent, or he. I'm not sure which one or the other, but I know that she was involved with. It's another aspect of, if you look at how a lot of this was done between Manitowoc, Queso, and the DCI. A lot of these reports you'll read through and say, agent or officer X goes with a DCI agent X, and the DCI agent wrote the report, so there's nothing there, and we can't get the DCI report referencing who this person interviewed. So we're left with a dead end.
Mm,
There's
right.
several of those in Queso. I don't know how many people noticed that, but it's there.
Right.
And it was done on purpose. Manitowoc, MTSO, they were basically just let loose to do whatever they want. And we have 13 pages of everything that they were involved with, and we know that's just a lie. That's just a lie.
Yeah. And Colburn's turning one of his in 8 months after the event.
That's exactly right.
It's like, good Lord.
And that ties into
he has a long memory, though. Hey, at least we know that. He has a very long memory. So, anyway,
apparently,
I don't know how much consolation we can take in that, but anyway.
That ties into a little bit of our conversation last night, where in reference to the spare tire cover that Wiegert had for 8 months.
Yes, that was another thing. As many of us were reading Queso after we got it, this reference that Wiegert turned in this spare tire cover at the end of June in 2006. What the hell is he doing with it? And everybody's seen the photos. There's palm print on it for sure. Looks like there's other fingerprints on it, but really, what biological evidence may have been on that tire cover? Because we know that Teresa's blood was on that inside of that cargo back door. So what is he doing with that spare tire cover for all this time? Because there's absolutely no other reference. Well, there's a reference in the ledger about it, but we don't have any idea what he was doing with it.
I think somebody on that post that you had on there, somebody had stated that they were probably using it as a CD cover for Fassbender's CD.
Sounds about right.
Hey, I'm convinced that Fassbender was using that as a drinks coaster in his favorite easy chair. But
absolutely.
Anyway,
that comment from whoever that was there on Reddit, when I saw that, and it made me laugh, and that's what drew my attention to ask a little bit more about it.
Well, as we peel back these, as Eric Ozias said frequently, as we peel back these little bitty layers of what we see, these things, it's like, this is not, I'm not a cop, I'm not a lawyer, but most of us aren't, but we see this and we're like, wait, what are you doing? Why isn't there a report to say, I took this spare tire cover because whatever, but there's nothing.
Right. I mean, right. I mean, if you're going to collect evidence, I mean, yeah, I mean, isn't that the whole point of report making, so that you understand where it came from, what it was for, what it was about, what it was, I mean, that's the whole point of record keeping, right? Especially when you're collecting thousands of pieces of evidence.
That's right.
It's like, can you imagine if you collect thousands of pieces of evidence and don't write a freaking word about any of it? And you're just coming back in there going, okay, what happened with that one? And, I mean, it is beggars belief that they would just not explain where it came from. So, yeah.
Yeah, could you imagine the meeting going over the case? I mean, hey, I found this. All right, where's all your information about where did it come from? I have no idea.
Right. It was just there in Queso.
Exactly. It just shows up. It's like, well, what the hell are you doing with it, And why have you had it for so long? And I hope one day, that question is asked of him and he has to give a reply. I would be really interested in that. But
hopefully we got a hearing coming.
You had also mentioned a few days ago when we started talking, Jamie had a question, about the shoes. And this is nothing groundbreaking because I'd made a post about it. It's nothing groundbreaking, but
No.
it caught my curiosity way back when. They made such a fuss about Brendan's jeans and these spots of bleach on them. Okay, let's take that a little bit further and say if Brendan and Steve were walking around in his blood trying to clean it up, why didn't they check those shoes for blood?
Right. If it's going to be on the jeans, it's going to be on the shoes, right?
Absolutely, it would be there first.
Right.
And
Logic,
so you find one drop of Teresa's blood on those shoes, it's game over. It's done. But
right.
And nothing's there. Nothing.
Yep. Absolutely. And the shoes aren't completely ghost white, right?
No.
So bleach tends to do that to colors, folks. Turns it all bright white.
That's exactly right.
If there's no bleach stains on the shoes, it's like the gloves in the OJ trial, except I think OJ was guilty. But, if the shoes have no bleach, you got to acquit. Anyways.
Yeah, well, these are the people that are supposed to be tying all the evidence together, and they can't even look at little stuff like that. And, well, just like JJacks said, if there's bleach on the jeans, it's got to be on the shoes if they were walking through clean it up. But how do they not? These are paid people that have been trained. How do they not tie that stuff together? And we need the shoes, we need the jacket, we need socks, whatever.
Well, isn't that investigation 101?
Yeah.
You would think so.
You kind of would, wouldn't you? Yeah. Yeah, it's just that's the thing about this case, right? I mean, we're just laymen, right? But we're looking at it just going, dude, a 2-year-old can tell that logic doesn't work.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just like bizarre.
Well,
you're not especially trained, It's just like, anyways.
The key is also another one that, I mean, they actually expect people to believe that they searched that place 5 times, 6, and all of a sudden it was just there. I mean,
yeah,
this is cop and
there's a key there.
He's telling this story, and actually, this tells me that they really think that people unlike themselves are really stupid.
Yeah, agreed. I think their assessment of people's intelligence really kind of illustrates theirs or their lack of.
Exactly.
So.
One of the other things that we talked about last night was Kratz trying to get his memos relating to the return of the bones. There was some conversation between.
Yeah, that goes back to requesting documents, and that is something that he most certainly did. But I think it was after the bones came up and all this came out. He starts requesting his memos that he wrote between X and X date. Who knows what he's trying to do? Yeah, I think he actually had made a tweet comment or some comment that he would have said or told them that releasing any of these biologicals would have been a mistake. But again, I don't trust anything he says. His mouth is open. He's lying. So,
those lips are moving.
Yeah. So, I don't know what he's done, but he's requested these documents or his memos between himself and God knows who pertaining these. I'm guessing this biological material. So now I will say this: I know that with the DCI, you can read some of their jargon. It's pretty thick, but even I can understand it. I know that prosecutors or even former prosecutors, they have a little bit more leeway in being able to get documents than, say, you or I or anyone else because they were involved.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if he got them, but I do know he requested them.
Well, and that's something I would think that memos, I mean, even though he's not in it, I would think he would have kept some documentation. I'm surprising that he didn't keep copies of those himself just because if this could have come back up in the future like it has.
That is surprising. I always felt like that when he left under such a cloud, that he took a small trunk of stuff with him. I just always had that feeling. His computer, as we know, was formatted. So a lot of it, the guts of it, we didn't really get. I mean, a lot of it we didn't need because it probably didn't pertain to anything that we need. But who formatted his computer before it was actually, checked for whatever? And that's another, that's just one more thing, I guess, that I just don't trust about what he's done, because I guess I look at things a little bit differently than some people do. I see the manipulation of things. I see, how to phrase this right.
Mhm.
I see an event, but then I see an action or a reaction that doesn't really fit with what they said.
Okay.
So, what I'm saying? It just doesn't add up. So from that aspect, I don't trust him at all.
Well,
I just
they probably had to format it because I'm sure he probably kept the all the files from Bobby's CD to look at with his little freak show he's got going on.
Yeah, that's another thing there. That leads into. I
So
mean, I
you
don't.
think that the Dassey computer CD might have been Fassbender's secret little dirty little secret? Like he was actually watching it? Anyway,
Well,
sorry if you weren't saying that, but it
well,
was a funny thought anyways, but go ahead. Sorry.
well, that's another aspect. It's if we can we talk about Brendan for a minute?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's just go back to November of 2005. O'Neill and Baldwin get him hemmed up. When they get pulled over, they get him hemmed up in the back of the cruiser, and they just it was terrible. If anybody's listened or watched read the transcript of that, it's bad. But let's just pin that right there, and let's move forward into February of 2006. We're 4 or 5 months or 4 months later, basically 4.5, and all these things begin to happen. Again, I see actions, I see results of that action, but I'm left with what really is driving this. We don't have it. So anyway, we see Brendan really getting hammered in
Yeah.
February of 2006. The Fox Hills meeting is another one that really grates me to no end.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but to me, this was a custodial event. They couldn't leave. I don't see it any other way, because they said it was a safety thing.
Barbara
Crap.
said she was threatened if she left, that everybody would be under arrest.
So that's a custodial interrogation, period. There's no other way to look at it. And then 2 days later, Brendan's arrested.
Yeah.
And then a day later, Kratz goes on his nightmarish press conference.
Yeah.
So then we take that and we move forward even a little bit further.
Actually, if we move a little bit backwards from there,
Okay, go ahead.
We're telling also to factor this in. Fassbender and Wiegert are browbeating Jody, a victim of substance abuse, on a daily basis. And I've covered the conversations that they had with her here on this channel before, folks. I've done a video about it. It wasn't good. They were asking her some pretty sick questions, some pretty twisted questions. And they were digging desperately to get her to give them some dirt on Steven, until she eventually got sick of their questioning, asking about her and Steven's sex life, how much they had sex, how long they had sex, like all these things. Like they were trying to insinuate that Steven was a jerk, of a lover or whatever. I don't know what exactly they were trying to get at, but it was disturbing. And she eventually tells them to go away. She tells the jail, don't let him in anymore. I don't want to talk to him. And then right when that happens, suddenly it's like, oh, the Dassey boys. There we go. And that's where they head in that direction. And it all happens quickly. Within 3, 4, 5 days, Brendan's arrested. There's a press conference. It's, you can see their desperation,
Well, one of the thing about the desperation you're talking about that I've sat and thought about, and this was in listening to the audio of that interrogation in the car. Why would they not go pull out? It was so bad for them that they had to do this on the side of the road. And one of the things listening to it is listening to the interview when they have the flashers on.
It's actually a metronome, I've heard. That's actually a metronome in the car, actually, is what I've heard.
Really?
It sounds to me like it's the flashers, like they're just pulled over on the side of the road.
It could very well be.
You know what? Well, for one, ask Brandon, ask Stacy Seabrook. I play guitar. I don't keep a metronome in my car. That may,
It's still, but it's still the same effect.
it is. Yep.
Absolutely.
So, what you said leading, from Jody, another aspect of this that I don't know if people have thought about, these cases are supposed to be, and DCI is supposed to be investigating Teresa. But they look how far off the reservation they went into other people. And they went way away from investigating what happened to Teresa, even to some degree, and I don't mean any disrespect, but some aspect of victimology. And that's part of the, I'm not a cop or anything or an investigator, but I've read enough that they want to know about the person that is dead.
Right. Victimology.
Absolutely.
Whoops.
But, moving forward after, the press conference, and we move into April, and the DASA computer is seized, they get a report, several days later, on May 10th. They know about it. Fassbender's handed this report and a 2,500 page printout of whatever. And, right after that, this is all during, right before, this goes into Lynn Kaczynski, which if we have time, we can talk about it a little bit. This whole arranged thing that they're going to have this meeting, which to me was another setup. But then, Fassbender and Uyghur get another free pass at Brendan to browbeat the hell out of him for another however long. And, he locks up on him. He doesn't say anything. But in the meantime, they've got this cruddy CD with all this smut on it. God knows what, in searches. And, maybe it means nothing, but isn't it worth one question to Brendan and say, hey, we've been in your house. We've got the computer. We've got this. We've got this. Who did this? This is crazy, Isn't that worth one question to him?
Right. Yeah. Some curiosity about it. Certainly.
Exactly.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with that. How they could just gloss right past that. And then, like I said, the further proof is in the way they handle it, right? They obviously know that it's bad for them. They clearly understand that what is on that DASI computer is not good for the prosecution. That's why they sit on it for 8 months. And then suddenly in December, right around mid-December, they start portioning it out. Fassbender report over here on the 7th, buried in 40 other DCI documents, and then you got the 7 DVDs handed over on the 13th, 14th, or whatever. This is all less than a month before Denny's due. It's like,
well, let's back up from that just a little bit.
Rich, pause for a second.
Go ahead.
Julie says you need to stop for a second.
Okay.
And also check your email from Henbury. I don't know if you can do that while you're on here, but I don't know. I'm kind of missing what's going on. Sorry, JJacks.
That's fine.
Here.
Oh, pom announcement.
Go for it.
Well, let me find it.
Oh my.
Hit it.
You stop a second. Where did she put it? Oh, we're over $4,000. Okay, great. That's awesome.
Yes.
Great. So that means Henbury is going to be on here in a minute. Sandra Greenman's going to be calling me here any minute, guys. So don't be surprised when that happens. But we have hit 4,000. That means we're going to have to get Henbury in here at some point, because he's got this hot document that he wants to show everybody right now. So let's go ahead and talk about what we have to talk about here. real quick before the calls and we start getting jammed up. We're almost to 7 o'clock here, unfortunately. I wish I had more time.
Well, just to finish up, let's just back up a little bit from what you were talking about.
Right.
So if we go from, he gets this DVD, a CD final report in May. What does Kratz do almost a month later? He goes and files that Denny application. He did that in June.
Right.
And then he moves forward, like you've laid out. 7 months later, he had all this time he could release that stuff to String and Beauty, and he didn't.
Right.
And then what he did release was just the raw data. It was not that final CD. And he even lied about it, and he manipulated his report and said, there's nothing on that computer of any relevance. Right. Well, that was a damn lie. That was a huge lie.
He said it was Brendan's computer. He was very
that too.
Yeah, very keen to represent it that way.
So,
absolutely.
Christy, Vanessa Overton had actually posted something that was kind of interesting. She had asked, do you think law enforcement could have possibly planted that on that computer in order to get Bobby to help them or basically sway their way? Kind of an interesting theory when you look at all the other planted stuff. And why did Fassbender have it for 12 years?
Well, they actually, if you look at the ledgers, that CD was turned in after the trials were over. It's in there, but it was not in there prior to that. So that's another interesting thing. I guess they could have done that, but in reality, they didn't have to. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they did, but knowing that stuff's on there, that could have actually put Bobby in a really bad position as far as he was concerned about getting accused of anything, because they could have, law enforcement and Kratz and Gahn and whoever could have really put the screws to him. I mean, think about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Here's another good question. You may know on this. It says, where does the CD info timing and Brendan's May 13 interview sit?
Well, they got the final CD analysis on May the 10th, and his interview the browbeating session was on May 13th, I think, or May 12th, whatever it was. I had to look at the date, but it was a couple of days later. They had it. They knew, at minimum, they knew about it. So it's right there at the same time.
Yeah, and AC Rookie had just stated that to this day, Kratz still calls it Brendan's PC.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Rookie. It's May 13th.
And that's pretty bold for him to say, even though it's come out that that's not. I mean, he's just sticking to the bullcrap story.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, yeah, they have to, don't they?
Yeah, kind of change now.
Right. If they make any public statements that's breaking with the narrative at trial, right, then KZ can attack, right? So they have to be careful, right?
7 pairs is saying go longer.
Go longer? Might have to, actually.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, folks. You know how much I love Brendan Steven. You know how much I love supporting. I'm missing Game of Thrones for this. So, hey.
Hey, put that on DVR.
I know, yeah. So, but hey, just saying. That's, anyway, no. I know how everybody loves Game of Thrones. So, anyways, you know what? Got to give a shout out for Game of Thrones. The Battle of Winterfell. Just like the battle of corruption in Wisconsin. No, anyways, I'm just kidding. Sorry. So, we've hit our 4,000, guys. That's absolutely stellar. Thank you so much, everybody out there.
Everybody's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely stellar. So, Henbury's going to be showing everybody a little document here. It looks like I'm going to be getting the call from Sandy Greenman in about 10 minutes. It might be good to go ahead and have Henbury get on here now. Suppose I should send him a link. Well, I've already sent it to him. Haven't I?
Yeah, you should be able to pop right on.
Let me make sure I sent it.
While you're looking at that, we talked a little bit last night about the O'Kelly and Taddick meeting, which I didn't know about.
Yeah, I posted I really get sideways with, and I was upset like everyone about Brendan and how he was so mistreated in this whole menagerie of stuff that went on. So I really started digging. I'm not the only one, but a couple of years, I'll say a couple of years. I guess it was yeah, it's coming up on as a year and a piece ago. I wrote some documents, and it's really based around what's in the Brendan's 2010 hearings. He did a motion for to get a new trial or get a new hearing. So they had these meetings prior to that, and if you read through this testimony, a lot of information that comes out then that we didn't have back that they didn't have in 2006 and 2007 about the actions of Kaczynski and O'Kelly. And as I see it, not everybody probably will agree, this was a complete setup. It was a complete setup on Brendan. They ambushed that kid, and
Yeah.
they planned this. If you read the documents, they planned this about a week. There was a hearing coming up that Fox was going to rule on May 12th, and this meeting was planned for after that. And the story was, of course, that O'Kelly didn't want Kaczynski there. And there's a couple of reasons. If you just ask why, he's his lawyer, why the hell wouldn't you want him there?
Hi, is this Henbury?
Plausible deniability.
Okay,
Well, and not only that,
in the
he would have to stop what he was doing.
that one. That's good. Okay, I can post
Yeah.
it. All right. I'm gonna put
Yeah.
sorry,
He would have to by attorney-client privilege, and not attorney-client privilege, but he would have to stop him from asking certain questions or stop Brendan from answering stuff certain way.
Cameras off. So that
That's exactly right.
you're worried about that.
So, you know, a lot of people don't know that Kaczynski's a former JAG prosecutor.
Yep.
After he got the case, after Ralph, I can't pronounce his last name, he bugged out after a week, and Kaczynski got the case. As soon as he got the case, he starts giving media interviews. Between March 7th and March 25th, he gave at least 18 interviews between that time frame, and then he gave more after that too. Kaczynski O'Kelly did make a specific trip to Manitowoc to talk to Scott. It's in his records. I mean, you can see it. It's in his bill that he turned into Kaczynski to get paid. There are other meetings too that really caught my eye. I'm wondering why. You know, why is he having all these meetings with people that are less involved and really and certainly not related to Brendan at all? You know, it caught my attention. Anyway, this whole thing that happened at this meeting with O'Kelly and Brendan, he initiated all that set up for May 13th to let Fassbender and Wiegert come and re-interview him. That was him. That was not Brendan.
Yep.
So it goes from there. They call, they get a hold of Kaczynski. This whole thing gets transferred over to Kratz. Kratz says, "Oh, sure, yeah, that's fine." And him knowing that Brendan's legally represented, O'Kelly has no say in that at all. He's not a lawyer. I think he's a scammer personally, but that's just me.
Oh, definitely. And you know, I know that some of the stuff we talked about here tonight, some of it's not new, and some of it is. And the reason I was bringing it up is for one to get people to keep thinking that, you know, we haven't seen everything, and maybe there is something that isn't found yet. Somebody may look at something a different way and break something open that gets us even closer. So
I'm convinced that there's people out there that know far more than they're telling. Somebody knows something. I think that as from a control standpoint, you guys touched on it earlier. I think it was Seeking that said this, that it really didn't have to be this massive conspiracy. If you have a few that are directing traffic, basically, and your underlings, the rank and file cop, they're just going to follow orders. They're going to keep their head down and they're going to move forward.
Right.
And it's not because they're bad people. They have bills to pay too. And they know, if they see something and they start questioning it, I'm sure that they're indoctrinated to understand that be careful.
Well,
So,
it's the old military adage, follow your orders, ask questions afterwards.
right, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hello, Henbury. How you doing, buddy?
Hello.
Hi. Good to have you here. Nice to be with us.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, right on. Awesome. Hey, so what do you have for us?
Mate, what have you got? Check your email.
I'm looking at it right here. I got 5 pictures and a document.
Yep. Why don't, how long have we got?
Oh, let's say about 15, maybe 20 minutes.
Oh, let's just jump straight to the document, eh? That's what everyone wants to see.
Straight to the document. Alrighty. Okay, so there's our document.
So I think you can share this through your channels, mate, however you use it. I'll probably post it out as well.
Right. Yeah. So it's a key found. This is the key in the wait. Okay, so I'm mind screwing myself here. This is a key found all by itself?
That's correct. That's the 7620 Toyota key that was found on the 8th of November.
In the room, in the bedroom.
That's correct.
Oh, okay. So it is the one found in the bedroom. Okay.
So that's the ledger document.
Right. What's going on over in the item number there? That's interesting.
Yeah, so I've got a few things to chat about this if you want.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Can you zoom in on it at all?
Can I zoom in? Let me see if I can. Whoa. Let's see if I can move it now. No? How about that? Better?
There's a delay. I haven't seen it change yet.
Okay, hold on. Shoot.
Oh, yeah, there we go. All right. If you head up to the top left.
Top left. There we go.
Yeah, so apparently the deputy that was babysitting the other searchers with him that day, this Toyota key that they found in a bedroom of a guy that works on a salvage yard with other Toyota vehicles, he already knew this was the victim's key.
Right. Yeah, he's writing it up as the victim. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's very. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
That's some interesting insight.
Yes.
The other thing, as you pointed out, is the item number. I can't make any sense of that.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
It's a mess.
That's really crazy.
I know that Seeking Truth has had some issues with relabeling or changing property tag numbers. I can't decipher what's going on there. That could be. I don't know what they've done there.
And it shows it collected at 9:30.
Yeah, so some people might find that useful. Anybody who's making timelines, that's allegedly when they found the key. So that may be relevant to anybody who's looking into timelines of when they found certain evidence.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That really is. That's a good catch too. Looking at the way they put victim when they couldn't have possibly known yet.
Well, all they knew at that time was they found a key that had a Toyota logo on it.
Exactly. And to say that Toyota key was going to be special compared to all the other Toyota keys that might be somewhere on the property is, yeah. For them to say it's the victims is, that seems very disingenuous to me.
Well, it's tunnel vision. That or they knew.
That or they knew, right? I suppose it could be overzealousness, desperation to pin it. They clearly had an agenda.
Yeah, Kaczarski thinks there's aliens, so, perhaps Colborne and Link told him that this was a victim's key and he just believed them.
Right, yeah.
Case file reviewer just put Queso's Danny dipshit strikes again. Wow.
That is actually pretty special. Wow, that's pretty cool. Thank you so much, Henbury, for bringing this over.
That's all right. There's a couple more things.
Quite interesting.
There's a couple more things at the bottom if you'll scroll down.
Let's see. I don't know if I can. Let me see. Oh, whoa. Ew, it's letting me scroll. There we go. Oh.
So the physical location of the item, once they took it into evidence, I know people have pointed this out on other ledger documents. I think it says triple D7. It actually looks like it's whited out. There's other information that was under that previously.
Hi, Sandy. Hi. Here, let me put you on speaker. Sorry, hey guys, sorry, but Sandy's here, so she can be here while we're discussing, and we can talk a little bit with her.
Hey, Henbury, that and that the top one, now that he's got it zoomed in, actually, the number looks like 25 for an item number. The original one.
Yeah. So this was, I think,
Sandy?
Per the report, they said that this was item 5 collected on that search. And so it was moved onto a ledger document of its own so that Joy could come and collect it. But the problem is, if you have a look at the bottom, the ledger number, it is still 05179. Whoever submitted the ledger's request recently, the big dump, if they requested ledger number 05179, this document should have been included in that release. So it's either oversight or incompetence, or they deliberately didn't want to release this document.
Sure. Makes sense.
All right. Sorry, guys. I was trying to deal with the phone call there. So,
Sorry.
Jamie again. All right. So back to here. All right. Very interesting, actually. Quite interesting, to be sure. Sandra, try calling me back. I don't know what was happening, but it was cutting out and I couldn't hear you. So try calling me back, please. So I guess we're getting kind of towards the end here. It's a little after 6:30. We got about 28 minutes left. And we're going to be talking to Sandy, and then we're going to be having basically all the hosts come in to join and talk probably during the last 10 or 20 minutes, and we might go a little over. So just so everybody knows where I'm at a little bit of a time crunch, so I'm sharing, times with you guys. So anyway.
So you got to ask Henbury his, the ultimate question of who is his go-to guy for this, and same with JJacks.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Who is their go-to for who did this? Who they think did this? Sorry, I'll reword that.
You mean who JJacks thinks?
Yeah, who they think the killer is.
And Henbury. So who's your favorite, guys? Or who do you kind of favor as a suspect?
Which one? Me or Henbury?
One of you. Let's go with JJacks first.
I'm highly suspicious of Ryan's actions and Lodorn, and that's specifically because of the things that he left out, and he really wasn't investigated at all. He really wasn't. On top of that, we have some conflicting information about when Blodorn actually last saw Teresa. We were really told it was Sunday, when in fact it seems to have been Monday morning. Does that matter? Well, it might, if he's willing to say one thing and it really means another. And that all came from the Karen Halbach's phone call to actually report Teresa missing. And, that's another aspect. I don't really want to move off the subject too far, but when people need to think about this, everyone knows about the Yes poster, right? And it dated on November 2nd.
Right.
So this is another aspect of the case that, as we look at these documents, they're dated a specific date. So we just take that for granted and looking at it and saying, okay, it happened this date. But what if they intentionally altered that date? It screws with everything. And I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm not saying that they're misstated. I'm just saying that we know for a fact that many of the case reports were written days or weeks later. They were. We know that because they included information they couldn't have known early on. So anyway, Ryan and Blodorn, and I really have a bad feeling about Bobby. I don't know that he could do that. However, he lied, and he lied a lot.
Right.
And ultimately, his lies led to, of course, Stephen getting convicted, and his brother. So, motivation to lie. Why would someone do that? What's he doing? So, I kind of have this juggling act between those people. I don't know for sure. There's not enough evidence to say he did it or he did it, but there are questions that got to be answered.
Yeah, definitely.
Henbury?
I don't really have a go-to. I've not, I've not formed an opinion on that. I've been more looking at the facts that they tried to present, both in the reports and at trial, and they're a joke. They're just not true. So JJacks is he's been around at this game longer than I have. He's a legend of this game. I would defer to his opinion on that. Who his go-to is. I don't have one, sadly.
Quick question for Henbury that popped up in reference to the document was, does KZ have this ledger document that you got?
I'm not sure. I was keen to share this to show that there are Australians who do their own research and make their own findings. I'll ensure that she's got it.
Well, knowing that you got this document and it wasn't included with the original document dump that was got. Okay, now that leads us to say, are there other ledgers that we don't have that they just intentionally didn't include? My guess is they probably are. There probably are more.
Fair question.
Probably. We know that there's evidence items that weren't on the master list that's on Skip Top's site. I think as more people get interested and more confident with FOIA requests, we'll be able to obtain more of them.
Agreed.
All right. Okay, so I am going to have to clear the line here for a minute so that so I can have Sandy call in. I do want to thank both of you for being here. Very interesting, and obviously that document, Henbury, is spectacular. Just think it really illustrates their tunnel vision. It epitomizes their attitude in this whole case, and so I love that. Thank you for bringing that.
I would encourage everyone to read Henbury's Know Your RAV series that's posted on the Reddit wiki. I put a link up earlier. I'll re-put it again. It's outstanding work, and his logic cannot be refuted. It can't. There's been challenges, and he's smoked every one of them. They're done.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually haven't gotten to look through all of them yet. I think I started to, but I've been so busy, but I intend to get over there and take a look at those, Henbury.
They are detailed, and they are excellently written. Man, oh my God.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks a lot for organising this weekend, and thank you to everybody who donated and got us over the 4,000 line.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I hope you guys all realize how much everybody that is watching appreciates this and you guys coming on. Not to put a celebrity tag, but I mean, it kind of is. You guys have brought a lot to this, and it's much appreciated by everybody.
Yeah, but I think you got to remember, let's keep the focus on Stephen and Brendan.
Yep.
And Teresa.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll sign off.
Yep.
Thank you.
Ready? We'll see you.
Thanks, man.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Thanks for having me. Appreciate everyone's donations and everything. But I'll scoot off the line and.
Hey, just all you guys. I may contact you in the future to have another little chat with you guys if you guys are comfortable doing it this way.
Absolutely.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. We'll see you.
Good.
It was a pleasure having you here, and thank you for being on.
You bet.
Yep, thank you, sir.
So that is my chat with JJacks, Redditor JJacks and Redditor Henbury from MaM-A-Thon. A very interesting discussion with these gentlemen. Obviously, I'm going to be speaking with them in the future. And, the document that Henbury brought in where they're clearly calling the Toyota key the victim's key before they could possibly even know that is obviously very interesting, very telling about the nature of this investigation and many of the things about it. So, as usual, if you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and we'll see you, folks.